game end so far this season. And what the heck just happened, Jared?
I mean, on the drive, that time denied by Carrillo.
Yeah, a little taste of her own medicine. Usually it's Scoff who's dishing out the rejections, but this time, as she tried to drive on two players, that one needs to be probably a stride stop and spread to your shooters on the outside, because after a slow start for Vanguard, they've hit their last three from downtown.
But certainly three is in danger. Little jumper from 8, drops through.
Anytime the official sees that left hand around the waist as you try to pull yourself around to get to the...
Good catch, puts it up left hand, smooth, off the glass and in.
Again, Roberts just a little bit too high. He's trying to lean against his upper back. You're not going to be able to do that against a guy who's listed 270.
827. Long three, good. Another Burnett from Andre Norris.
Yeah, Norris not necessarily known to fill it up, more known for his defense, but that was a pure shot with confidence from range. Incredible for a man who only averages 6.8 in contests.
Say into San Juan. Oh, nice dribble. And lost a couple of lines, and she's going to head to the line.
I think she lost me and you too, Jared, on her way in. What a nasty in and out. One actual tangible difference that I want to see for Vanguard is Point Loma's ice in the ball screen. Vanguard needs to twist it to get to a step up more than a side-on ball.
And Matson using the screen well from Matosian. Nice roll. Matosian, pardon me.
The way that you beat the ice is where you go to the dribble handoff right away, and it's got to be fast. You can't massage your way into it. It's got to be hard and decisive so they can't jump the hip.
Keep fast in transition. Crabtree stops on a dime, pulls up, and drills it.
Got to find her in transition.
34-34. CE head of steam over to Scoff. Steps into a triple. PacWest Defender of the Week is on the board from downtown.
It was just a matter of time before Scoff found her range, especially after Crabtree just kind of took the lid off the rim. You know, another way you can beat these side-on balls that Vanguard is having so much trouble is start throwing in some middle third ball screens. Some horns action maybe.
CE with 11 points, but hasn't scored yet in the third quarter.
Right on cue. There's the horns.
And the big man's feeling it from behind the arc.
It's going to be key. If they can keep stretching Dominguez Hills defensively, that's going to open up attacking lanes for guys like Colin Albert to get downhill and continue to be a threat. He stayed in it right there, and that created another problem. Jared, is he hot?
Oh, heat check.
They like to go zone, and maybe that will induce Purdue Northwest into putting the big man back low, but the Toros answer right back.
A response from Jordan Hillstock. And isn't going to wait for the screen. Goes at it with the right hand and gets a friendly roll off the rim.
Yeah, Jatalian Brown, he's really got to take that charge right there. Had a beautiful setup. The man on the ball actually induced him right into that baseline. Oh, speaking of inducing baseline.
See you later. Deep triple. And Brown, nails it.
It's an easy game when the ball moves like that. We try to play hero ball with those big swings. You have a chance of getting knocked out yourself, and that's the run that Dominguez Hills is on right now. I'd like this to be maybe a ghost screen here from one of these two guys. There it is.
Nelson driving, takes the contact.
Yeah, that's a good call there by the official of Fifi. He should have just held his ground. That's a big-time charge opportunity, because right now, what is Purdue Northwest thinking? They're thinking, get down here, we got to get back in the game, and they're putting their shoulders down. And knowing that trend over the last 6 minutes of the game, you just take that charge. I know he's, a tall big man, so you're not really accustomed to that. But that's got to be in your repertoire.
Kicked out where, wouldn't you know it?
How do you lose him in transition, Jared?
Who's at Ashford? Cheatham. And a feed inside to a Fifi, but it's an offensive foul.
And that's what I've been begging for this entire game, Jared, is even if they pass the ball, that charge opportunity is still there. Robertson making up for his mistake that he made earlier, and Purdue Northwest has all the momentum, Jared.
Face of California, Jared Roan, joined by J.J. Johnson in the final game of the season. Teams that love to go at each other, so evenly matched, and this is going to be a dogfight for sure.
Honestly, Jared, I think these two teams are like the evil twins looking at each other in the mirror. They play almost identical in style, especially because of that press, the 1-2-1-1 that both teams employ. We started joking, like, what if they both come out cold?
And they're both,
sure enough,
an ugly first quarter of basketball, but shots just were not falling.
Well, doesn't that fit Vanguard's MO, the #1 defense in the conference, few points per game allowed?
Nice pick set by Kubi.
Hudson's been shooting that three ball where they go under with a lot more confidence over the last month or so, and they have not been able to do that.
So is that cleaned up? And clean on the jumper.
Love the adjustment there from Coach Spataro. How many times have we seen against Vanguard zone that teams go to the 1-4 high, hit one of the elbows, and slash the backside? I was waiting for Menlo to do it because they're one of the best teams at doing it against Vanguard.
But it's what happened the last time these two teams played in Costa Mesa, which was probably the most irate I've seen you alongside me, as Vanguard gave up a 16-point lead, tried to dribble through a press, and Menlo ended up running away with it. So they can force some errors, but they give it up again. Hudson on the drive and finishes.
I couldn't have been that irate last time, huh, Jared?
Not without question that they can pull their way back into this one.
Absolutely not. When you have a player like First who's 7 in the coverage of points per game, as well as Rosette who's 12, I mean, you're certainly going to have a chance, but it's the turnovers. You can't score if you're not getting a shot at the rim at least.
First trying to stay tight.
Here comes a zone now from Menlo. I love the switch up.
Another dangerous pass. And that foul goes against Ali CE.
And I told you this is going to be a chess match, Jared, and Coach Spataro said, we're going to go to a zone right here coming out of the timeout. Vanguard had no clue what to do, and it resulted in a CE foul.
Right. Just need to defend the three ball well. You talked about Kozakowski. This whole Hilo team is the #1 3-point shooting team in the conference. So
Back up three, pull up, got it. Drained it from deep with pretty good defense in his face, actually.
yeah, really good defense there by Dalton. You could tell the threat is imminent with Kozakowski. This is a man who led the Division I level at UC San Diego from distance, so you know he can light it up quickly. Dalton was there, just a better shot.
Skips it in the corner. Kozakowski, three-pointer on the way.
Yeah, Ketching's got a little lucky there. You cannot lose sight of this guy. Anytime you're in a scramble drill, that has to be the first guy you locate.
The ball was in and came back out for Kozakowski. 7-6 Vulcans. Here's Henderson inside. Nice move. Right side to the left side. Lays it in.
Yeah, it's a staple for Concordia. Hit the elbow, and then instead of going to a DHO, it's a hard back door, getting an isolation on the post.
One gonna not go.
Yeah, Minter getting a little bit lucky down there. We talked about the offensive glass being a big part of this. Catchings for Concordia is going to make sure that they get their fair share, but it's going to be a whole team effort for Concordia to ensure that nobody on Hilo.
Pull-up jumper from about 17. Got it. Nothing but net.
And Gleason's such a smooth player. He doesn't take a lot of shot attempts, but he takes the right ones. Jace Catchings, ever since he was over at the NCAA program in OUAZ, he has been one of the best rebounders in the country, whatever school he goes to. This guy has just a nose for the ball, and that's why Hilo needed to be careful here early. Do not give a guy like Jace Catchings any hope early in these ball games, because then he's going to smell blood in the water. He's going to keep on going for more boards. He's up to 3 now, and with that, he's now at over 100 boards on the season alone.
Ignores his pick, goes the other way, banks it off the glass in an impossible angle, it seems, and we're tied at 30 apiece.
But that's a shot. The mid-range is his bread and butter.
Catchings, three-pointer right side, got that way.
And there's another guy for Concordia who's not necessarily known for shooting from distance, but he can keep you honest if, and especially in Catchings' case, if he gets it going on the defensive and the offensive glass. It's weird how it works for Catchings, but the more hustle plays he makes, the better his three-point shooting is.
Still with it, free throw line, back outside, Kozakowski, no.
Well, an adjustment was certainly made by the coaching staff from Concordia. It's telling Catchings, do not leave when you're in a got-to situation. That time he made the right choice, staying home on Kozakowski and letting McDavis shoot.
Pete just off the block, spins against Locandro, trying to find room to defense on that possession.
Yeah, especially by Locandro, a man who's usually more known for his brute strength, but that time he's a little bit of finesse, using the active feet, and just going with a simple wall up.
Dalton leans in, and I think it was a trap.
Yeah, tried to go to the Euro step, but took an extra step back home all the way to New Zealand on that.
It does, gets it to Nodrick Pete, left hand, no good, gets his own rebound without jumping, and drops it home. I don't know if you've ever had to not jump for a rebound, but Pete did not have to there.
No, I usually have to jump. The problem is I can't jump. Attacking the interior of their zone in the half court. What I would like to see from Concordia now is when that point guard has the ball in the middle third of the floor, set a screen on one of the outer halves of this top of the 2-3 zone, because that allows Pete to step up. Now you're going to have someone backdoor from behind him because there's nobody home to protect the rim. So you're bringing that center out. That's what I think the adjustment could be here from Coach Ammon and company.
We'll see. Good advice from future Coach Johnson or future broadcaster Johnson. We don't know yet.
Concordia's got to see the slips right here because Hilo is in the zone.
All inbounded. Locandro off the glass and good. Very well done.
Right on cue, the slip there from Locandro. He was watching from the bench for the last 5 minutes, seeing what Hilo was doing. And sure enough, he said, Coach, I got you.
To Davis, 3.5 minutes left. On the cut, wide open, layup is good from Norris.
You have to tip your cap to Kozakowski right there. Anytime a shooter is willing to put his body on the line and set a massive screen key for them, they're getting easy looks at the rim, and they're able to set the pressure from there, which has controlled the pace of the second half.
The range crossover dribble takes in the paint, high-arcing shot over Pete, no good. Rebound to Brody Davis.
They're missing that extra pass underneath. They're getting Pete to step up beautifully. They have to see that dunk underneath. That time it was Jace Catchings who they missed for a wide-open layup.
Semifinals. Vulcans by 2. Here goes Henderson. Pull-up jumper from 18. No good. That one. Concordia.
Yeah, fouls to give, not mad at that at all. But you finally saw what we were talking about earlier, where they were setting the screen on the top part of that zone, trying to get into the outside, but they missed once again that baseline cutter. It's an easy game.
Tonight is going to be the bench scoring. Vanguard averages 11 points per game off the bench. Westmont's Ship averages 9 herself off the bench.
Ship will step on. As JJ mentioned, just a freshman, but averaging 9 points off the bench.
And you know it's a sign of respect when Matosian is the one who draws that assignment, one of our best defenders and most intelligent.
16 rebounds in that win against Concordia.
Yeah, they had a pair of monster double-doubles with Kiefer as well. Chipped in 10 points, 16 boards herself.
No good. Rebound by Scoff.
Textbook box out once more, and you're going to have to do that all night. This is going to be a mental battle as much as it is a physical. Are you willing to put your body on the line every single play as Scott's layup goes awry?
Waits for the pass from Ship. Goes to work on Kubi, and that's too easy. Got it with the left hand, just bumped Kubi well out the way. His ball scraped out by Bailey Fong.
Yeah, Kubi's got to do a much better job recognizing who she's on. Someone who shoots just 20% from three. You don't have to be that hugged up. All of a sudden, she got caught chest to chest, and that allows anyone who has big-time racker as Ship to get downhill.
Kubi, the extra pass from Matosian, lines up the triple, top of the key. It's true.
So you work on the high-low read, now work on the low-to-high. The double team comes as Westmont got caught. Beautiful slip by Kubi to set up the inside-out three ball, and that's the best three in basketball, Jared.
Automatic from there, but just about misses out. Good scrape by Kramer. Baseline J, that one's down the hole. And Mariah Brown is on the board.
Remember that play, Jared. Who was first to the floor on that one? Westmont was. In a playoff atmosphere like you have tonight, you have to win all those in-betweens, the 50-50 balls.
Haven't scored in the quarter. Scoff. And stops the bleeding.
We haven't seen that much from Scoff over the last few games. She's really been trying to put pressure on the rim as of late. But that time she shows you, hey, I can still mix it up a little bit. A little pick and pop on an empty side ball screen. Really good job by Scoff.
What do the Lions have to do to get themselves back into this one?
Well, they did a much better job in that second quarter in terms of controlling the glass and not bleeding on the offensive glass. They only gave up one offensive rebound in that second quarter. But the damage is already done. 10-0 in the second chance points department.
Third round joined by JJ Johnson. And JJ, these are two teams coming off potentially some of their biggest losses of the season.
Tonight they have to take care of business against the Penguins, and the first key is going to be the battle on the glass. Taylor Lindsay is a beast on the boards. She has 7 of the 8 best rebounding performances of the season for any player in the PacWest. The good news for Vanguard, they have the other one in the top 8, and that's Sarah Matosian. And can Vanguard get hot from three? Just like Hilo did the other night. Hilo, in the part of their upset over Dominican, 11 of 17 from downtown.
First blood goes to the Penguins.
And because of Lindsay's activity, she draws so much attention from Scoff that there was nobody there on the backside as Madsen was late, rotating to the bottom part of the zone.
And Juan, and she's had the hot streak from downtown for the Penguins.
Yeah, 0 for 6 in that game against Hilo, but is finding her stroke. The mark for me about Dominican was if they were the real deal, because they had won 13 of their last 15 games, and before the Hilo game, in that stretch, they hadn't played one of the top 4 opponents.
Barroso is good.
And what Dominican's doing a lot better than Vanguard is moving on the backside.
8-0 run now for the Lions.
And notice that Vanguard said, to heck with the zone, we're going man the rest of the way. It was a foul, but that was a very late whistle.
I think the refs are going to walk in packs to their cars. Into Madsen. They tried a three to take the lead. Off the rim and dropping down. Madsen hits. They don't call the timeout. 1-point game, down to 6, down to 5. San Juan driving on C, goes up, no foul, picked up by Scoff, and that's the ball game.
They're going to review to see if there's any time left, but man, oh man, what a frenzy there at the end. Madsen getting the shooter's roll, and then to come down, coast to coast said, we're going to play this one out. I'm going to trust my guys. And that was the exact right read right there. Taylor Lindsay lifted out to set the on-ball screen. And guess what? Scott wasn't there to rim protect, but Matosian rotated over. A terrific job.
Made an immediate impact last night when he came in off the bench.
And you could hear Biola, as soon as they saw Armbruster in that middle third with a head of steam, they said, gaps, gaps, gaps. They all packed the paint right there and just clamped down hard.
Skips it back out to Metcalf. Metcalf will take it into the rack.
Yeah, and that layup right there was set up by his mid-range that he shot earlier, because now all of a sudden Biola's in the back of their mind thinking, oh, this guy's capable of knocking down. He hit one last night as well.
Here's Armbruster through the paint.
Biola has to be really careful right now because it's starting to turn. We talk about the styles of play at the top.
This is starting to turn into RU's ball game.
Now, every time Biola is entering their offense, they're getting to these staggers or even pins away, and RU's predetermining their switches. Biola needs to start slipping some of these in the early offense because, I mean, RU is just switching so far wide, and it's just getting their offense very stagnant.
Eagles trail by